Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Beneath the Surface, where we go beyond the highlights and talk about the real conversations people don't always talk about. Today, I've got a special guest with me today. I'm on the show, Coach Bobby Porter. There are certain people in your life that come in your life that kind of make a significant impact in your life, and they come to your life at the right time. For me, Coach Porter was one of those people. He wasn't just a coach; he was a mentor, he was a leader, and he was someone I saw. He saw me the best in me before I even saw myself. From days from trying to figure out who I was to being pushed to my limits on and off the court, he helped me build a foundation of who I'm still becoming as a man. This conversation is just not about basketball. It's about discipline, identity, and what really means to grow. So today I'm going to introduce somebody who played a significant role in my journey as well. So Coach Bobby Porter, do you mind just kind of introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Yes, again, my name is Bobby Porter, originally from Dayton, Ohio. Moved out to Utah in 1998. In fact, October the 8th, 1998. It was a fantastic time in my life. I was able to meet this young man. Okay, it was something else. The first time I ever met him, he came into my office at Job Corps and he asked me, could he just have some candy? He came by himself. He ran away from other people who was with him and he went and got some candy, man, and we sit down. He sat down like he was a grown man on my couch and we sit down and we talked for a while and had a good time. I really been blessed, been able to accomplish some things as far as basketball is concerned, and also, I'm associate pastor. Right now, I'm at Phillips Temple here in Dayton, Ohio, and I've been really blessed. Been able to have a documentary, which is basically called Bobby Basketball, which is on Amazon Prime and also at Tubi. So I've been doing well with
Yeah,
that. Back here at Dayton Public Schools, it's not a
yeah,
charter school, it's not a private school, it's a public school where people
yeah, most
real, and I'm
definitely.
enjoying every day of it.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Like I said, constellation and all that. Obviously, yes, you guys make sure you check out his documentary. Like I said, it's one of those intricate parts that talk about the journey we kind of had along the way. And all the success he's kind of accomplished throughout the process. So, we'll talk more about that here in a little bit too, as well. So, obviously, you kind of talked about being from Ohio, and then kind of moving to Utah, or whatnot. So, who shaped you as a young man when you was growing up?
Well, it was a guy. Well, first of all, it was my father. My father, he was something. He played in the Negro leagues and he played baseball. And he was something else. It was really funny. He was a good father of five. It was a situation. He spent time with me, and it was something because sometimes when he was around, I felt I could never do anything right. And I didn't really know that my name was Bobby or Robert until I got to school, to elementary school, because he kept calling me boy. Come here, boy. Come here, boy. And, it was something, though, and he gave me some good morals and values. And then it was, it was reinforced by a gentleman by the name of Mike Haley, who was my basketball coach, who saw the
Yeah,
best in me when when I didn't see the best in myself. I was just stumbling around at 6'5", wanting to shoot marbles all the time. And he told me it's more to life than that. So
yeah,
he made me promise, man, to give it back. He gave me my first coaching job with him after I came back from playing overseas. It was great, man. It was great. It's been a blessing. I had so many other people in my life who really looked after me, and I'm just so grateful. Just so grateful.
yeah, most definitely. Thanks for sharing that. And so, like, as far as kind of growing up like that, so who would you say that made you kind of get into coaching that once you become a coach?
Well, it's really funny because the thing that I kept telling everybody in college and overseas is no way I'm coaching. And what happens is my mentor again, Mike Haley, came to me and I was working at Dayton Roth High School as a student coordinator, which I was in
Yeah,
charge of discipline. It was crazy too. And
yeah,
he came up to me and he said, "Hey, I got a freshman coaching job open, and I want you to have it." When he speaks, he was like E.F. Hutton, man. I couldn't tell him no. But then all of a
yeah,
sudden, man, I just started enjoying it. It was fun. I mean, the fun part of it is when you watch young men, especially young men,
yeah,
turn into men, and that's just
yes,
something. I mean, just like yourself. I remember you when you first came in. It was a situation
yeah,
where nobody couldn't say nothing wrong to you, boy, because you would square up
yeah,
on them in a minute. And then we were able to just get past that, and you would be able to rationalize, your thinking and being able to understand that you could be able to get your point across more with your words than with your fists.
yeah.
It was good. It's a true blessing, man. It's a true blessing.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a long time coming, well, for sure. Like I said, I can remember just like yesterday. You know what I mean? Just kind of coming throughout the process and just kind of everything worked out. So yeah, thanks for sharing that for sure. So that kind of correlates to what we talked about the Renaissance man, right?
Right,
Where did
right,
that philosophy come from? That idea come from? Because that's where you kind of trying to instill in us and kind of preach to us about being a Renaissance man.
right. Well, I wish that I could have been able to say that I created that concept, but again, it was Coach Mike Haley again. You know, he said, "Look, you got to be well rounded. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to you have to be educated. You have to be able to make the right decisions. You have to know about life skills, you know." And he said, all of those things will make you successful in life. He said, now I'm not going to say you're going to be a millionaire. He said, but you're going to live a great, comfortable life. So my thing was, I was like, hey, it's working. So that's what I said to you guys, talking about well rounded, no shortcuts to success, and making sure that you build your house on stable ground, not on sinking sand. And that was the biggest thing. I just wanted to pass it on what was passed to me.
Yeah, most definitely. And it kind of worked wonders too, because I think a lot of us that came to that school were, lost and just trying to find our identity and find something to kind of believe in or hold on to. And that kind of resonated with me a lot to this day. I still kind of uphold that, that Renaissance man standard or whatnot, trying to kind of keep following through with that as well. So thanks for that. So with that being said, obviously another big thing that you kind of emphasized for us was always wearing suits and ties. So why was it important for us to wear suits and ties when we went to games and things like that?
Right. Well, that thing, it was funny because again, it took you out of your comfort zone, at first. But then all of a sudden, when you guys start looking in the mirror and see how good y'all looked in the suits and ties, y'all like, hey, matter of fact, y'all start beating me to get y'all suits and ties on. And that was the great part of it. You know what I mean? Because you only get one chance to make a first impression. And
Yes,
that's the
sir.
truth. And when you walked in, it set us apart. And it was
Yeah.
amazing. And I loved it when all the other parents from all the different schools would come and say, how well these young men are dressed, and they just look so
Yeah.
good. And it was really funny because some people would get mad because I would inspect y'all before y'all got on the bus. And if you didn't look right, you wasn't going on no bus with me.
Yeah.
And if you look good, you played good. And you know what, man?
Yeah.
You guys were fantastic. That's all I can say. I mean, it was just how you were able to grasp an idea and just be able to go with it and make the best of it. And it's a true blessing. That's what I can say. It is definitely a true blessing for me.
Yeah, it was all like I said, I feel like that's kind of what brought us all together. And like you said, when you started buying into that idea, what I mean, even like going to church and things like that, we start, oh, okay, like this what it feels good. Like, and we were playing great and kind of bounce off that idea that way. It kind of just blew everything over the top. So thanks for that
Yeah.
sharing that or whatever. So as far as you trying to teach us basketball, what were you trying to teach us beyond basketball?
Well, one of the things is, basketball is a great classroom to teach how to push through adversity. I mean, you guys remember all them sprints you ran and how you
Man,
didn't want to run them, how you didn't want to
boy,
run them. And
man.
I never, hey, look, man, we got to run him, man, because he gonna be crazy enough to keep us running all night. So he's gonna make sure we run and y'all push through it. And so what happens
Yeah.
is the biggest thing is it teaches you when you're dealing with adversity that you have to push through it. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, don't give up, you know. And if it's hard, then it's worth it because anything is easy is not worth having. But if it's hard and you push through it, is that feeling of accomplishment that you have, and you can smile, you can say, "Yeah, hey, I got through that too." And that was huge. That was huge.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think
to
that kind
see.
of played a factor for us. Yeah. It was because I remember just running sprints. You used to tell us you'd be talking, you'd be saying something, and you'd be like, I love you, I go. We'd be listening, you'd be like, go, like, oh my God, here we go again. Sprint, sprint, sprints. But like even that, even like running the sprints at a Swenson gym in Weaver State, that gym was so big, just running around there. But it put us in condition though. You know what I mean?
Yes,
It worked as
yes,
wonders for
yes.
definitely for sure.
And we didn't have that many injuries either because we were
Yeah.
in really good condition, man.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. So obviously, like I said, I mean, you talked a little bit about me at Job Corps. What did you see in me then at the time as an individual when we first met in Job Corps when you first came to 98?
When I first, and it was really funny, man, how mature you were to be so young. That was really something to me. I mean, I looked up and I could not even believe it, man. I mean, you came into my office, man, just like a grown man, and, "Excuse me, you have candy right here. May I have some?" I'm like, "What?" Then you took the candy and sit on my couch and sit there, and we proceeded to have a conversation. And I looked at you and I said, "Well, this kid is special." And I always told you you were special, and it is really something because it was just you could just see, especially your eyes too. Okay. Of course, we can't see your eyes
Yeah.
today. You got your glasses on, but your eyes, man, I mean, they were big and they were just like, man, boom, so confident. I mean, I was like, okay. And I could see that. I mean, that you were saying, hey, you know what? You may be older than me, but you're not better than me. Now, also, I want to get this wisdom that you have for me because we said and we talked. Well, I say before anybody came in, it had to be at least 15 minutes, man. And for you to be that
Yeah.
young and carry on a conversation like that, it intrigued me, man. It intrigued me.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. That was a time they had, and when that happened, I'm not gonna lie to you, we didn't really speak to each other that way because before that issue happened, I had went into foster care within like the next year, and so I was dealing with the foster care whatnot, and then
Yeah.
so obviously kind of fast forward and got placed in a home, and then that's how we met at True Vine Baptist Church, a few years later. But I never thought that I was gonna see you again because I just saw this man, I was like, man, this tall man here, like, why are you so tall? So that's how everything kind of happened or whatever, So that's kind of, kind of played out that way, So we'll kind of come back to that here in a little bit. But so obviously, what made you want to invest in kids that were going through tough situations at the time? Obviously, you said you was the person of a discipline and whatnot. But what made you want to kind of work with tough kids and whatnot in that accord?
Well, not only I came from a tough environment. When we first moved over into Westwood here in Dayton, Ohio, it was a situation that
Yeah,
was a really nice neighborhood. And then what happened is after we had been in Westwood for 3 years, we moved there when I was 3 years old. By the time I was six, it went from basically predominantly white and Jewish people to majority black. So
yeah,
and what happens is that my high school, there was three gangs in the high school. It was the Black Masters, Glory Stompers, and the Chains of Rap Brown, man. And it was a tough life. Sometimes I would go
yeah,
home and I say to myself, I said, "Hey, God, why am I going through all of this?" You know what I mean? Because sometimes, man, you would just you get sucker punched, and you know what I mean. And some
yeah,
people would say, "Hey, hey, I would have fought back and I'd have done this." Well, when there's 7 and 8 people beating on you, man, you just you just take a beat and
yeah,
you get an L. So it was when I saw that, man, I wanted to show that it was a way out. You know what I mean? I wanted to show that you didn't have to be a thug to be successful. I wanted to invest in kids because I saw my coach, Coach Haley, here we go again, and then
yeah,
Mr. Caldwell. I had some really great coaches, Mr. Chapman, Mr. Haley, and then Mr. Caldwell, who was the principal, who
yeah,
took time, man, and they carried themselves in the right way, and they kept saying, "Hey, education is power. Hey, you could be able to. We have to help our people." They took time with it, so naturally, I felt that that's what I was supposed to do because that's the way I was brought up. Like I said, Rolfe High School was a great high school, man, and it even though there was a lot of violence, okay, a lot of violence.
yeah,
Okay. It still taught me how to be a man. It taught me how that I need to pass on to other people that you could be able. I
yeah,
just, yeah, I felt that it was necessary for me to do that, and especially our times in which we were growing up and when you were growing up in too. There was a lot of mentors for me, but in y'all's
yeah.
era, you and BJ's era, there wasn't a lot of mentors for you guys.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that I was one.
Most definitely, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And we talked about how you're rough and upbringing. Like we drove by in Ohio, you showed us the house getting kicked in and things like that. When we went to Pittsburgh, the 5-star basketball camp or whatnot. So
Right.
we kind of saw the little neighborhood and things like that, whatnot. So would you say that you growing up in that chaos, you kind of could pull and see a lot of the chaos that we were all going through at the time, and that's why you want to be the mentor and person we needed at the time?
That's correct. That is definitely correct. And that was really, really important, that this happened. I had to laugh because if you remember that trip to Pittsburgh, it was a situation that all of you
The no
guys
no,
were with me. Yeah, y'all were all with me. And somebody be in the back seat and said, "Man, he didn't grow up no tough neighborhood." And when we turned
Yeah.
the corner, all of a sudden I could hear everybody locking their door, click, 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 click. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because it was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I felt even though when I retired from Utah, I had to come back, and that's why I'm here today, to be able
Yeah.
again, young people need help here. Westwood is
Yeah.
woof, it's Westwood, and, matter of fact, the city of Dayton, we're working to try to bring it
Yeah.
back and to establish, a pathway for young people to be able to be successful.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, and kind of like before we're kind of transitioning to kind of how we got into Layton Christian Academy. So I don't know if you remember, obviously, like I talked about in '98, we met. And then so within the next year, I got placed in foster care. So like I had bounced around going to different homes and placing different things and was trying to figure out things. In '98, I just landed back in America after being all these years in Nigeria. So things were a little bit harder for me. So I was still trying to figure everything out, trying to test the waters out, trying to get a feel for everything. It was a whole new trend for me. So, uh, within those years that we weren't MIA, I was getting bullied in different schools, getting called stupid, getting called dumb, people using money for the government or whatnot. When I got placed in the home, it's Miss Olander and them, that she had saved my life by bringing me home or whatnot. And I remember the first time we went to Kaysville, and Kaysville went to True Vine Baptist Church, and we had got in church or whatnot. And so they, asked we have any visitors, so everybody was like, oh, stand up, stand up. So everybody was like, hey, who's this? So this like our new son, da 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 da. So then I looked and I was like, wait, don't tell me that's this dude, this guy I just saw, just saw. So I was like, wait, it didn't make sense to me. So I was like, in life I always kind of throws you curveballs. So I'm like, well, is this the same man that I just saw several years back? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, and then we started talking and connected because he was deacon at the church at the time. So I'm like, oh man, like this is it's just mind boggling that I never thought the person I met in that day and I'll meet several years later without just not even knowing anything or whatnot. And so we connected that way. And then so obviously all the problems I had, we talked about everything. So before kind of get Layton Christian Academy, before Layton Christian Academy, it was obviously a Solid Christian Academy. So can you talk about Solid Christian Academy and then what kind of brought you to Layton Christian Academy?
Yes, what happened is Salt Lake Christian Academy. Well, first of all, I was the assistant coach, basketball coach at Northridge, and also I was working at Job Corps, And then what had
Yeah,
happened was, um, at Salt Lake Christian Academy, it was Julian Larry and Terry Tyson and all those guys,
yeah,
and they had fallen through the cracks, man. These kids, these young men were more talented than a lot of guys that was on their teams, but they were
yeah,
being cut. Chris Anderson, 6 foot
yeah,
7, man. He was running around, man, selling daggone with some cards, man. These
yeah,
little cards and everything, man. And I was like, man, what you should be playing? You need to go to college, which he went to the same college you did, Wyoming. And I was just
yeah,
like, well, wait a minute. So I took them up to Salt Lake Christian Academy, where they had chosen me as the athletic director and head basketball coach, and we did really well. But you know yourself, timing is everything. And it was
yeah,
a situation that they wanted to close the school because we was bringing too much diversity in there, with these guys. And what happened was the young ladies really liked those guys, and the parents who was running the school had a little
yeah,
problem with that. So they cut off the high school and made it just elementary. And so
yeah.
what happens? I came back, and next thing I know, man, it was a situation where my house. I never forget it. I was
Hmm.
living in Salt Lake City, and my house burnt down, and I'll never forget it because I said, "Hey, God, I did what you wanted me to do." And when I did that, we were coming back from the state tournament, and where we had finished 8th in the state, and Salt Lake Christian Academy had never won anything.
Yeah,
And I was like, they're closing the school. And God said, I never forget it. I came over the hill, man, in our little Forester, and the whole car, man, my wife was asleep, lit up, man. It said the test is yet to come. That night,
yeah,
our house burnt down, man, and it burnt down. And I'm like, I'll never forget it. My BJ's dog got burnt up, and I got him out
yeah,
and Jasmine out, and we all sitting in there. And the next thing I know, man, I was thanking God because I still had my family. And
yeah,
it was really something because I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, and hadn't paid the insurance, man. I hadn't
yeah,
paid the insurance, and so what happened was we lost everything. And I'm gonna tell you how good God is. God mess around, man. I never forget it. We were on 7,200 7200 South in Salt Lake, and it was a situation, man, that Red Cross had put us up into a hotel, and
Yeah.
I just was looking. I'm like, "Well, God is all about you." And the next thing I know,
Yeah.
man, there was a knock on the door, and when the knock on the door, this the a guy came in and said, "Hey, hello, my name is such and such. I'm from Calvary Baptist, and well, here's a donation for you." And then next thing I know, man, it's from True Vine. Boom. And then looked
Yeah.
up again, man. He was from Second Baptist, man. Boom. Yeah. And I'm like, what? And then I got a call, and it was a guy named Don Shane from Disney. And he asked me
Yeah.
he said, "Hey, look, we need you to be a stand-in for Mark Curry, man." He was making a movie called Proof Point, and for a month I was a
Yeah.
stand-in for him, man, and had got enough money from doing all of that, man, to be able to put down payment on our house, in Lake. But the thing that
Yeah.
also happened is that Greg Miller called, and I'm like, "Look, man, look, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute." I mean, my house just burnt down. Okay. He
Yeah.
said, "No, well, we got to meet." When we met, man, he made me an offer, and I was like, "Oh, okay, look at God." And there we
Yeah.
were, Layton Christian Academy, man. Layton Christian Academy. I never forget that, man. It was so much of a blessing. And then I got there and I was like, "Hey, look, I mean, my job was to diversify Layton Christian Academy."
Yeah.
They asked me to diversify it. They asked me that I know some good people who would do things the right way. And that's what we
Yeah.
did, man. That's what we did. And it was a chance for me to get the young men that I know that all they needed was an opportunity to be successful. And look at y'all now.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Crazy, right? Yeah, so it's so crazy because and I remember just like yesterday too, because for me, like I told you, I was bouncing around foster care, home to home, and then when I came to the home, I had went to Sunset Elementary, and I was at Hillfield, and I was at Clinton. I bounced around schools. I was labeled a stupid. I was labeled a dumb. Put in special ed classes, and so I was supposed to go to Solid Christian Academy the year before you came down to LCA. Obviously, then your house burned down and everything. So when you made that transition, that's where plans were made for me to come to Lake Christian. So that's how you thought of when I came to LCA. I was very hot headed, like didn't care about anybody. Like I just felt like everybody was out against me, basically. You know what I mean? And I just like did people could say the wrong thing to me. We're fighting. Like that's just what it was. And so that's kind of happened. So it's just crazy how like all the dots just kind of connect and stuff. So I wanted to ask you, so when you got there, what was your vision when you came to Layton Christian Academy?
When I came to Layton Christian Academy, I wanted to make it a place where a person who wanted an opportunity to be successful could come. And when I saw that, because I looked at all of the schools, and I looked at how some people were just getting messed over. I mean, especially in sports. And also everybody, man, it was a situation that they were trying to put them in special education. And it was crazy, what I mean? And I
Uh-huh.
was like, no, I wanted to make sure that there was a place where you could get a good academic education, man, and that you could be able to prosper from it. I wanted to be the people who look at them and say, "Hey, Layton Christian Academy, man, this is a great place to be." And I was blessed, so it's enough to be able to see that happen, come to fruition.
Yeah, and so that's gonna kinda touch on the next thing too is, obviously, what were the early days like with limited resources, and how did you build a culture there? Obviously, we talked about the school didn't even have the gym, we didn't have resources, we didn't have busing, anything like that or whatever, so can you touch on
Yeah, yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way. I mean,
Yeah,
we didn't have any budget whatsoever. There's a situation when I got there was only 2 basketballs, man. I couldn't even believe it. And what we
yeah,
did was, I'll never forget it, man. We had to park the cars outside on the asphalt court, and we would practice outside with them
yeah,
lights, man.
yep,
And but we had fun with it, what I mean? Because again, my thing is, okay, what does it take to motivate people to want to be able to come back? And I would make sure that, man, we would either have some donuts or some chicken or something, man. So
yeah,
after we got finished playing, and so y'all people could not only play, but it was sort of an event because afterwards you
yeah,
could still sit and fellowship, man, and talk to each other, man, and get to know each other, and
yeah,
the biggest thing about us, we formed a family, and
yeah,
that's what was so good about it. That's why we always would say for life. This is for life
yeah,
because we look back and I mean, it was great because I got to see you guys when y'all were coming up, and I knew y'all were coming, and I knew it was
yeah,
something special. I ain't gonna lie, I knew it was something special, and I never forget. I would always tell y'all, Don't worry about it. Whatever's messed up in middle school will be straightened up in high school. And look at
Yeah,
that. I mean, that's all I'm going to say. It was just that was just it was incredible. It was incredible, and just to be able to see where it was and
yeah,
where it is even now. I mean,
yeah,
is incredible. It's incredible.
yeah.
All I can say is look at God.
Yeah, it's crazy times. Like I said, I can remember back at Job Corps lifting with the the high school kids when we were in middle school and all those things or whatever the days we spent up there and everything just kind of progressed to where it's supposed to be at or whatnot. So I don't know if you remember this or not, but I don't know if you remember uh because obviously when we played high school or whatnot. Do you remember the moment when I popped my ligament in my thumb at
Oh my
Westridge
goodness.
Academy? Do you remember
Oh
that?
my goodness, man. How can I that's the nastiest thing I ever I I never forget. I had to turn away from you because I almost vomited. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
oh," and man,
yeah,
but the pain, man, to me, okay, was watching you, okay? Watching you
yeah,
down there, man, feeling helpless, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But I was like, "Oh, oh." So I did what I tried to do best. I prayed, prayed for your
yeah,
recovery, that you would be as good as new. And but that was something else, man. When I never
yeah,
forget that. How can I forget that, man?
yeah.
It was traumatic. And guess what though? You said it's that Westridge. It was in the state tournament.
No,
It was the
that
early
was a knee. That was a knee was a state tournament the junior
yes,
year. Cause
yeah.
yeah, I was gonna get to that one. The
I'm
thumb was
sorry. Okay.
yeah, no, okay. The thumb was Westridge on my freshman year, and
The
so
thumb. Oh yeah, the
the
thumb. I'm
thumb,
sorry, but
yeah,
the other one, the knee was devastating.
yeah,
The thumb, I knew you was gonna be all right. 'Cause
yeah,
the,
yeah. So
the
because I
knee.
remember that thumb happening freshman year, yeah, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that one
yeah,
was kind of the most, yeah, that was the most traumatic one. Well, for me, it kind of like altered a lot of stuff for me, and it felt like there was like a lump on the basketball. Like, every time I tried to dribble with my right hand, it felt like there was a lump on the basketball. So I remember at Westridge, I ran up to the huddle, so he was drawing up a play because we were calling a timeout.
yes.
So I went up and I just showed
Oh,
Coach Thompson, and Coach Thompson's like, "Ooh," because he tried to move and try to pop it back in place, thinking it was dislocated or something like that. And everybody was like, "Ugh." And then I look at you, he's like, "You got some ugly thumbs."
oh,
So I was like, "Oh man," but yeah, that kind of injury stayed with me for a long, especially playing receiver or whatnot. But that kind of I just got that fixed. It was about like I think 2017. That's when everything got fixed and got taken care of for that one. But I played
okay,
all throughout my career with that, yeah, with that one. So that was one of the most devastating injuries that I had. But it was like something that was prolonged, but it altered a lot. But then I was like adjusting to everything. I don't know if you know that I started kind of going more left and all that stuff like that, doing everything differently. But that's where it kind of came from.
well, all I know is whichever way you went quick so quickly, it didn't matter. You went quick and
Yeah,
strong, man. So I was like, okay. But
yeah,
the knee was like, man, I didn't know
yeah,
if you could come back from that. I mean,
yeah,
because you remember that during that time then, they didn't have the technology that they have now. So I
yeah.
mean, it could have been a career ending, but
Yeah,
it wasn't.
yeah, because I
Thanks to
remember that
God.
one too. That was, because we just shot free throws, and I used to grab them boards like crazy, so I remember just
Yes.
going up, and so somebody just took a cheap shot, ran in the side of my knee because it was tired of me getting the rebounds, and so when I went up to grab the board off I was thinking about even tip dunking it, so I went sideways and I fell down, and I remember just hitting the ground like, boom, and then I looked at my knee, I'm like, "Oh," and I could just see your face, you tall ladies and
Uh-huh.
sitting there like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, man." Yeah, I was like, "Man," like I felt so helpless. I was like, "Man, I let my team down," because we just gained momentum right there at that point. You know what I mean? We
Right.
started getting momentum. I was like, "Let's go." And then so when that happened, I was like, "Man, I let my team down." So I sat at the edge of the bed. They popped the kneecap back in there. They gave me the ice on my knee. I just sat there. I was like, "Man, like we were so close to winning that championship that year. Like we were moving and doing everything." So I was like, "Man," so that's why I was like, "Well, we got to put everything together." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, but
Well, when they
no, that
popped it
was
back in place, I didn't know they could pop it back in place. When they told me they
yeah,
popped it back in place, I was very, very happy, man.
yeah,
I mean, we may have lost that day, but we won because I mean, it
yeah.
wasn't a career-ending injury.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. And so that's kind of correlated to because obviously all those years we've had chances to try to win the state championship. We made runs, we did everything like that. So that kind of led us to all the way to '07 season where we kind of put everything together. The 2007 championship, which was the first championship of the school history after
Right.
not having the gym, not having everything. That was the first year the gym got built. We got access to it, like everything like that or whatnot. What would you say? Did you believe that year that we can win it all that year? And what adversity did we overcome that year that you didn't see? That people didn't
I don't
see.
I don't know if you remember this or not, but I was determined for us to win it. It was a
Yeah.
situation that, if you remember, we started every practice playing James Brown, the big payback. Remember?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because we had lost out to Christian Heritage. Remember that
Yeah.
in the regional tournament, and we was all
Yeah.
mad. I mean, I didn't have you guys' faces, the way that you approached everything, the way that you had grown up. You know, you were had positioned yourself for a time like that, and y'all were
Yeah.
ready. It was no, and you know what? I knew we could beat the referees. I knew we could beat the crowd. Remember, I had to go up
Mhm.
into the crowd because they had threw a bottle, and the bottle
Yep.
hit BJ in the back of the head. And I told the
Yep.
policeman, I said, if another thing comes from up here, I'm not coming to get them. I'm coming to get you. I thought I was going to jail
Yep.
that night, but I meant it,
Yeah.
because there was nobody going to hurt my team, and we were a family, and my thing is
Yeah.
the parents had trusted me with these young men, with each and every one of y'all, and y'all's safety was my biggest concern. And it was really funny, man, because remember, they hated us down in Richfield, but then
Oh,
after we
yes.
won it, we were signing autographs. We couldn't even go to the Walmart. Remember that?
Yeah.
It
Most
was it was
definitely.
really crazy. It was really crazy, man. Really crazy,
Yeah, all the
and
things you went through, staying at the Colored Inn, like, it was just everything that it was crazy, man.
can you
Everything that
can
kinda
you
built up
believe
to
that?
the
Can you believe
You're
the
right.
Colored In, man? Yes,
Yeah,
the
it's
Colored
crazy, right?
In, and they had the little black man holding the lantern talking about the Colored In. That was,
Yeah.
man, look, that was
That was
That was
something
really
else.
something. But, you
That
guys were
was it.
trailblazers, man. You were
Yeah.
trailblazers. And you know what? We had the right people to be the trailblazers to turn Utah around. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm just so really happy, that you guys, man, y'all grew up. Oh, you
Yeah.
grew up. Every time I see Glory, was it Glory Road? The movie
Yeah.
Glory Road? I think about us, what we went through.
Yeah.
I mean, me as a coach was one thing, but you guys had to play it. And you know what?
Yeah.
One of the other things that happened that I really loved is that we said no excuses, no emotion. Remember that? We would
Mhm.
say that's what we said that year. No excuses, no emotion. And you guys, if somebody seemed like they was getting ready to get mad about something, boom, y'all would run up to each other, say, "Hey, man, hey, hey," and you would calm them down, and we just go on and play the
Yeah.
next play. That was
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, what
Yeah,
I
because
was
you guys
asking
are
from
coaches.
y'all.
Yeah, it's like I felt like what you asked from us was something that we all kind of poured into, and we showed up with just serious faces, like, okay, we got to put this thing together. You know what I mean? And so that's how I feel like everything kind of happened. And so when we won that thing, man, it was to me like it was the best feeling in my world because everything I just came from to dealing with, the pain, the suffering, and then kind of building this brotherhood. And we tried all these years from freshman year to senior year. It was like, man, we fought to hit that breakthrough in that wall. Like, oh my God, like it just felt like you just cracked diamonds. Like, oh my God, all the hard work we put in, the prints, the
Y'all
down
get
the
mad at
backs.
me. Y'all were mad
Yeah,
at
man.
me and everything. But wait a minute, do you remember this? When the buzzer went off, it was so emotional, everybody just started crying. Remember that?
Yeah,
People were falling down because, like you said, everything, thinking about everything.
everything,
And I was just so
everything.
happy because you guys accomplished and pushed through adversity. So it was
Yeah,
incredible. It's something I'll never, ever, ever forget. And
yeah,
every time I look at that state championship ring, I just smile. I just smile.
yeah,
'Cause, you guys opened the door, and I always say that. You guys opened the door for everything,
yeah,
and that's why y'all successful in life right here, right now.
yeah,
So that's incredible. It's incredible.
yeah. What did that championship mean to you then overall when we bust through everything? Because it made you the was it Utah's first African American winning coach. Yeah, it broke
Yep.
all those barriers or whatnot.
Yes, yes, yes. To be the first African American coach to win it in Utah, that was great. And you know what? It was so funny though, because they told me that a predominantly black team, African American team, would never have a chance to win a state
Yeah,
championship. And we
yeah,
proved them all wrong, man. But it
indeed.
just to see you guys and how to this day y'all is still close. You know what I mean? That it's something that
Yeah,
nobody could ever take from us.
yeah,
Never take from us. And it's a true blessing. So it meant the world to me. It meant the world to
yeah.
me. And you remember I don't know if you remember that or not. When they interviewed me, man, I was up there talking about, "This is the greatest feeling in the world."
Yeah,
You know?
most definitely. Remember all that, remember walking up and cutting the net and everything. And so we just
Yeah.
for us to
Oh,
be
man.
able to put everything together, it was just an experience, you know what I mean, to bust through that. It kind of felt like winners. And you used to tell us all the time, we're all winners, you know what I mean? And say you're gonna be winners. And so when that happened, everybody was just like, wow. And I know me, like I felt the emotion, everything. I was like, man, like for the first time in my life, I finally like I had wanted life. I had wanted something,
Yes.
you know what I mean? I felt like
Yes.
all these losses and everything. I was like, man, like we've been speaking about this since middle school, about winning state championships, being a renaissance man, putting it together and just kind of busting through, making everything happen. And just remember everything from 98 to '07 is like, man, like we finally became winners on top, to go out that senior year that way and how we did, it was like 25-2, I believe it was when we
Yes.
finished. Like,
Yes.
yeah, we cleaned house that year. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
we
It was
did.
like, man, like we put everything together, and then we had one region 17 back to back all those years, but we just kept on pushing that envelope. But to kind of break through that '07 season was like, okay, it was the final
Yeah.
breakthrough of it all,
And with the
it's just
parents,
crazy.
what about the parents? The
Yes.
parents they were crying
Man,
and hugging, man, and we
man.
brought we brought the whole city of Layton, man, Layton and
Yeah.
Ogden, and we brought it all together because they had
We got
never
him a
ever
sense of
seen
hope.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Give him a
incredible.
sense
It
of
was
hope.
incredible.
We
Yes.
even had some fans from other teams too, because the thing about it is in our warm up lines, we used to be dunking and throwing lives and everything,
Yeah.
and all
Oh
the all
yeah.
the
Oh
kids be
yeah.
sitting there just like this, like, oh my gosh, like
Well, y'all
so it was
definitely
just
had showmanship. Y'all definitely had
yeah.
showman. Wait.
We
When you
played
would
fast,
like,
had showmanship, yeah.
what about when y'all would walk in? When y'all would walk in, all the kids, ooh, here they come.
Yeah.
And it was just,
Yeah, that
it
was
was great. It was great.
it was something spectacular for sure. Like I said, so when you look back now, what are you most proud of overall collectively with everything?
I'm most proud of the players, how that you guys really have worked hard to be the best you could be. You know what I mean? To continue to push through adversity, to continue to be role models and mentors, being able to just be good citizens. I mean, that is just so important. And I just smile on that. Every time I think about it, it's just huge to me. I look at that, I look at, and you were trailblazers. Okay. I mean, in a place that had never really seen us before. You know what I mean? Be able to see African Americans be successful because it wasn't really a lot of African Americans who were successful until we just kicked the doors down. We got the
Yeah.
opportunity and we took it. And that is what I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
I'll take that to my grave with me, man.
Yeah.
I love y'all to death, and like I told y'all before, y'all took an old man for a ride.
Yeah, most definitely, man. We used to say once some get some, bad enough
Yeah.
take some.
Yeah, boy. Y'all something
Man,
else. To this day,
yeah,
y'all something else, man. It's just
most
great to
definitely,
see y'all.
man. So, so what did you hope for all of us as players to become as men, and what does being a Renaissance man mean to you today?
Well, being a Renaissance man, you guys have all made impacts in, believe it or not, in your community. You're also good fathers, man. Some good husbands. Some daggone, you were successful in college. You worked hard to be able to make education, your ladder to success. Being able to, a lot of you guys are still attending church like you're supposed to. I mean, you're making good decisions. Now, all decisions that you make are not good decisions, but look,
Yeah,
I mean, you're still doing the best you can do. And then if you do make a mistake, you don't feel sorry for yourself and don't have pity parties. You just push through it and say, hey, you know what? Let me put on my big boy underwear and let's go. And
yeah,
I'm really proud of y'all, man. I'm really, really proud of y'all. I mean, it just to be able to look at you guys now, man, y'all like 36 and 36, 37,
yeah,
it's great. I thought it would be great. I thought it would be good, but it's even better than I even thought. And
yeah,
I thank God for that. I thank God that I'm
yeah.
able to see it and I've been here to see it.
Yeah, most definitely. So overall, when you look at everybody, we had a bunch of characters. So I look at Layton Christian Academy. I look at Layton Christian Academy as we call it like the last chance you, right? Because a lot of us came from chaos in different places. It was like foster care. Some came from not having resources. Some didn't come from money. Some, like and some had money. Like we talk about all the stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
When you look at all of us come from those situations or whatnot and the chaos. Did you realize the impact you were having on all of our lives at the time?
No, no, I didn't. I mean, my whole thing is just to pass on what was passed to me, and by doing so, I was just, hoping that it's just like throwing something up against the wall, was hoping that it would stick, and it did. It's not me, it's God. I'll just tell you like it is. He just used me as a tool, and like I said, He allows me to just to enjoy your success, just to
Yeah.
know that that I was a part of your success. I wasn't the
Yeah.
reason for your success. I was just a part of it. You guys did the work and I just happened to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing that for sure. You know what I mean? Just and I think a lot of people within also our group of people will kind of tell you the same thing, because we're gonna give you your flowers because of what you did. You put us in position to be successful. You know what I mean? You put us in position and taught us discipline, you taught us hard work, you used to raise that eyebrow, and we exactly knew what time it was, man. Like we could be cutting up a class and you walk in there, eyebrow, raise that one eyebrow, the one be up here, be like, oh man, and you could just feel it, you know what I mean? Be like, oh man, let me tighten up real quick. So nah, it was great. So I was just tell you, man, we're gonna give you your flowers for that accord because you definitely did a lot for us as individuals, So I want to thank you. And first and foremost, I'll tell you myself to tell you thank you, for everything that you did for me and looked out for me because without your vision and the people that helped you, to give you ladder to step on, you building ladder and bridge for us, that would never have been possible. So thank you for sticking with the vision and sticking with all of us and not giving up on all of us, because it made everything kind of whole happen.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you for being who you are and being able to be successful so I could be able to celebrate your success and just continue to grind, man. You continue to grind, and
Yes,
a great
sir.
thing's
That's what
gonna
it's
happen for
about.
you, man. Yep. Gonna happen for you,
Most
man.
definitely. Yeah. So I just want to thank you today, like I said, for taking time out your busy day to be here on the podcast and kind of sharing the story and kind of connecting dots. So as you guys can see, Coach Porter wasn't just a part of the journey, he helped shape it. And a lot of who I am today started within those moments. This is beneath the surface, and this is what it's about. The people, the lessons, the experiences that you don't get seen, but it means everything. So thank you guys for listening in. And if this episode resonated with you guys, please like, share, and share with somebody else that feel like needs to hear this message. Okay. So, Coach Porter, thank you. Well, thank you for having us. I thank you for being a part of the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Right. Thank you, man. God bless.